Do you ever go through your day feeling like you're on autopilot? Like you're sort of technically doing all the stuff that you need to do during the day, but you don't actually feel present for any of it? I get messages like this a lot from people who have just started the Freedom course. This sense that they feel detached from themselves. So, kind of like they're watching their life rather than actually living it. And so, if you're going through this as well, then just know that you're not alone and there is a way for you to be able to reconnect. The bottom line is autopilot is a horrible feeling. And I remember when I was going through this as well, sometimes I could go just so long just sort of going through the motions without really knowing why I was doing it or sort of having any emotional response to it. And so this autopilot thing, I was thinking, well, what actually is this? And what I discovered is that it's my brain trying to conserve energy. It's basically trying to get away from all the overwhelm that it's experiencing right now. And it happens when life becomes too repetitive or when anxiety wants to disconnect you from what is happening around you because it doesn't want you feeling too much. When you discover what it is, so for example, if you discover it's from too much repetition, then you can do small changes to break that cycle, which is to not do things which are so repetitive. And I know that you might be thinking, well, look, I have to go to work. I can't just stop going to work. I have to pick up the kids. I can't just stop doing that. I have to cook dinner. I can't just stop doing that. And I get that. I'm not telling you to completely do a 180 on your life or anything like that. But for example, if you do have to go and pick up the kids, why don't you try traveling down a couple of different roads? You know you better than everybody else, so you can think of some as well. What's some little things that you can do just to break up this routine and then see how does it affect that feeling of being on autopilot? And if you find you're going on autopilot when you're getting a little bit overwhelmed from your feelings, then this is a sign that your body is sensitized and you're in anxiety right now. And so there's a lot of negative thoughts, there's a lot of anxious bias going on. And that, again, you need to break that cycle as well. One of the first things I look for when I'm coaching and teaching people inside the Freedom course is what are they doing with regards to how they're seeing the world? Are they seeing everything as bad, everything is scary, and everything is negative? If that is the case, then what I do with them is I start to teach them not just how to see the positive. I teach them how to see the realisticness of it because everything has good and bad. Everything is positive and negative. But right now, you've got a super mega strong magnifying telescope, everything big there, focusing on what's negative. So, of course, you're not going to see this positive stuff. There's no room for that. So, what you have to realize is that why are you only focusing here? What about all the other little micro layers all the way to super mega positive? Why are you right here right now? And the reason you're here is because you're really good at it and you've had a lot of practice at it and it feels normal for you. But as you start to challenge that, and that's what you need to do is challenge it, then you can start to see the world for how it actually is, not just this horrible negative bias way that you're seeing it right now. And a really sort of simple example of this is what if questions. Let's say you're afraid of going out, but you've got to go to the shops to get some food. What happens if I faint when I go out? What happens if I have a panic attack? What happens if this? What happens if that? Do you know what you're doing there? You're completely catastrophizing. You're completely thinking of the worst possible thing. What you need to do instead is to challenge that. What if I go to the shops and get home and everything's fine? What happens if I go to the shops and I feel more energized for having doing the exercise? What happens if I go to the shop and I feel nervous on the way there, but as I walk there, I start to feel better? There's so many other what ifs which are equally as valid as what happens if I faint, what if this, what if that. So next time you have these what if questions, be aware that you're doing it and then instantly challenge it. No, 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 brain. You're not going to what if me into this horrible catastrophizing. I'm going to think of some other things as well to counterbalance that. And then what you start to do is you start to learn that way of thinking. Again, it's not thinking positive, it's giving you the realistic broad spectrum of what's going on. And as soon as you start to do that, eventually your mind will start to see the situation for how it actually is rather than seeing it for a negative situation. That's going to help your anxiety, that's going to help you worry, and that's going to help your symptoms, and that's going to be one step closer for you becoming back to your good old self again. This all feeds into the autopilot, and so to stop feeling like you're on autopilot, there's lots of little things that you can do, and this is one of them. And I know that it's tricky because I went through this myself, and every day I help people across the world recover from this specific thing. So I know how challenging and frustrating and sad it can be. And if you do need help, then go look at the Freedom Course. If you want to feel calm again, and if you want to feel connected again and grounded again, then the Freedom Course is going to let you do that. All the info is on the website, including a detailed structure about what you learn and what you do. So go check it out. The link is in a pinned comment and also in the description. And I'd love to see you in there. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.